What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Comeback Podcast with Mark Jennison. But this week, we have Shaka Dyson. What's happening, Shaka?
What's going on, big dog? How you doing over there in Wisconsin?
Well, I'm living large, man. It's not freezing up here anymore. We're about 45 degrees, so life is good. You can get outside and actually do something.
Nice.
So we just had a couple minutes here. We're talking, just shooting the shit, you and I, for a couple minutes. Actually, my listeners are predominantly car guys. But there is guys that are looking for inspiration. So you're going to get to reach a different audience here as well, right? You will have a bunch of car guys, but you're going to have some business guys. You're going to have some guys that work at McDonald's that just follow me because of the story, right? And I can tell just by talking to you for the past couple minutes, you're a pretty motivated, inspired guy, and you got some good knowledge. So will you do me a favor and let these guys know where you're from?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So my name is Shaka Dyson. Jumped in the automotive industry when I was 21 years old. And I just turned 40. So I've been growing my career for 19 years in the automotive industry, and got to a point where, I was running the finance department for a group of 34 stores and 65 F&I managers reporting to me. And over the last couple of years, I've owned my own company, Dealer F&I University, which trains F&I managers all over the country and works with dealerships doing F&I training inside of stores, man. But, kind of like you, man, kind of like your story, that adversity, man. I also come from that adverse background, man, that challenged background, that hard background, I think you and I could talk for days, if not weeks, about the challenges and hurdles and what it takes to be successful, man. But I'm that person, my mother left me when I was 2 years old. My biological mother left me when I was 2 years old, and it just spiraled from there, And what I found is that when adversity starts at that time in your life, at that age in your life, when adversity starts, dude, it don't stop, right? Like it's one thing after another, kind of like a domino effect. And what I found is that you have to make a conscious decision. You have to make a conscious decision to stand up to the challenge and be willing, have that will to overcome that challenge and those hurdles and those hardships, and know that after every dark night comes a brighter day. And as long as you keep on striving, you can eventually get there. And thank God, luckily, I'm in that space now.
Awesome. So you do believe as well, like I do, that the struggle starts early on.
I do, man. I don't think that, people are born with silver spoons in their mouth, and then, later on in life, struggle and challenges just happen to them, without it being self-inflicted. The challenges and things that I talk about aren't self-inflicted. The challenges and things and hardships that I talk about are life and the hardships of life. Having people in my family murdered, those aren't self-inflicted. My biological mother leaving me when I was 2 years old, those aren't self-inflicted. Just things of that nature, just having it hard growing up. It was so hard and challenging for me, man, that I ended up dropping out of high school. I ended up running away from home when I was 17 years old because my home life was so challenging. I've had a nephew of mine murdered, an auntie of mine murdered, a couple of little cousins of mine murdered here recently. My older brother has been in prison my entire adult life. I mean, it's just challenge after challenge. But God, man, let me tell you, after every dark night comes a brighter day, and anybody can get through whatever challenge or hurdles they're going through, as long as they stay focused on that prize, as long as they stay focused on that goal and what it is that they're trying to achieve.
And that's so when I heard that, and you just listed off a bunch of your family members that passed away or murdered, and then obviously now your brother being in jail, but what kept you on this definitive line to be successful? What do you think? How'd you avoid that?
Because I knew I wanted more, man. That's the bottom line, is that I knew that I wanted more. Lots of credit to the people that I associated myself with. I associated myself with lots of different people and tried to be in a different environment than a lot of those people around me. I made a conscious decision to try to surround myself with those who wanted more, especially in the car business. Right. When I started selling cars at 21, it's the first time that I ever met somebody that made $100,000 a year, and I was blown away. It's the first time when I worked at Hubler Dodge and met Howard Hubler, it's the first time I ever met a millionaire in real life, and it blew me away. And so I knew that it was, at that point, I knew that it was possible. Right. I had a little girl. The biggest turning point of my life is when I had my daughter. My daughter will be graduating college this year, but I had her when I was 18 years old. And I got to tell you, man, that was the biggest turning point in my life. I knew that I wanted to provide her with a great life and a life that reflected none of what I went through growing up. So that was the biggest turning point, my friend.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the car world then and how you got into it, right? So obviously you come from a rough, a rough background.
Yeah, sure.
You probably worked some different jobs. How did you end up in what made you decide to come sell cars? Myself, right? I put myself there. Like I was a victim of the life decisions that I made, right? I had to go to a place that would only accept me because of the drugs, the alcohol, the shit that I've been through. So I went to the car world, right? Because a lot of guys are like me.
Yeah.
How did you end up there?
Man, I was actually working bending neon. Okay. I was working bending neon, man. I was making
like neon signs?
Neon signs, yeah. Okay. I worked for a sign company in Indianapolis, man, just bending neon signs and making $9 an hour, a raise from the $7.25 an hour that I was making previous, It's funny, the first year that I filed taxes at 18, the lady told me I made below the poverty line. And I had no idea what a poverty line was, because when you're poor, everyone in the building that you're living in is poor. So you have nothing to compare it with. But I was living in a building that was obviously poor, full of poor, the people who were just like myself. And dude, I had a guy, a little friend of mine, who started selling cars for a Nissan dealership in Indianapolis, who popped up at my place with a demo, with a new vehicle. And mind you, when you're poor, man, I'm sure that you know this, people drive old cars. We call them bookies.
Right.
They drive old, beat up cars, high miles. You hope it don't cut off when you're going down the street. And dude, he popped up at my house with a demo. And I was like, what? You have a new car? And he walked me downstairs to the parking lot and did a walk around, and we drove in this new Nissan Maxima. And I was like, wow. And that kind of blew my mind. So when I saw the classified ad in the newspaper, some of the people watching this aren't going to know, but they used to post jobs and classified ads in the newspaper. Right. And I saw a classified ad that said $45,000 first year, no experience necessary. Come interview at Hubler Dodge this Tuesday and Wednesday. I thought to myself, $45,000 a year, dude, I'll be rich. I could pay all my bills for years with $45,000. And so I ended up going to Hubler Dodge and interviewing, and happened to get the position, man. And that's how I ended up there in the car business, man. And once I got hired there, man, and sold 2 cars in my first week during the training week, sold 2 cars and made as much money in that first week that I would all month at that sign company. It was a wrap. You
were hooked.
Yeah, it was done.
You tasted that money and you were ready to roll.
It was over for me. Once I realized that you can, as Sean Bradley says, you can make as much money as you can earn. Once I realized that all I had to do was go out and help these customers, I sell them the merchandise that was out there, sell them the vehicles, dude, and I can make the money that I got paid to do it, and there was no set limit. Oh, it was over. It was a wrap. I knew that this would be the way that I would spend the rest of my life going after.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your career selling, right? Just a quick touch on that. Sure. How long did you sell for until you started doing finance? Did you train yourself up? Did you see the bigger picture right away, or were you ingrained in sales for a while?
No, so I sold for 2 years, man. So I sold for 2 years, and I started in March of 1999 selling cars, and I got into F&I and spun my first deal in February of 2001. So, there's a guy named Jason Troxel who worked for Bob Rohrman up in Lafayette, Indiana, man, and he took a chance on me, man. He took a chance on me. I found out that they were interviewing for F&I positions up there, and I had caught that management bug, right, about 6 months prior in my dealership. And, just like everybody else who goes through trying to get promoted from a salesperson into management, my managers were telling me, no, you're not ready yet. You'll get your shot at some point. You have to learn more. You have to sell. You have to continue to sell. We can't afford to take you off the floor. All of those explanations and reasons, man, but I didn't let it stop me. And I found out through a warranty rep that a guy named Jason Troxel was looking for a finance manager and was interviewing. And the guy gave me Jason Troxel's phone number, and I called him and set up the interview. And the rest is all she wrote, man. I took a long lunch break and I drove up to Lafayette, Indiana, man, and I sat in front of Jason for 45 minutes and we talked nothing but motivation. I had no F&I background. So all we talked about was Tony Robbins and Les Brown and motivation and what keeps us going and why we're motivated and goal-oriented. And I guess I had the characteristics that he was looking for because he gave me the shot. Had no reason to, but he did. And to this day, he and I are great friends.
That's awesome, man. Actually, that was one of the questions I wanted to bring up next was because I can tell you're very motivated. You're very you're ready to roll, right?
Yeah.
Self-development.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you feel pretty strongly about that.
Every day, all day, as much of it as I can get from whoever I can get it from. I got tons of books around me. I've got books on every kind of thing. I've got audio tapes, CDs. I've got hundreds of downloads. I give motivational speeches, self-development. That's where the success lies. And that's the separator between you being great and you being average. That's the separator. Because know something, that average and mediocre people don't do self-development. They complain about their current circumstances and they dwell in things that aren't great or fun, called misery, right? While other people do self-development. They know that that's the answer. They know that that's the answer. Stay focused on the prize and continually developing yourself for that greatness and for that next step, right? Great people and successful people always know that there's a next step. There's always something coming, and you have to continually prepare yourself for that next while everybody else is staying stuck, right? So self-development all the time is it's like air that you breathe. I mean, you got to get it, my man. You got to get it.
Right. I mean, I do it every single day. Some days more than others. It seems like right now I'm back on like a kick where it's hours and hours a day, every free minute I have, whether it's at the gym, it's in my headphones or driving or just reading when I came in. So
yeah,
saying about that. Let's talk about the entrepreneur bug. When did you, obviously at some point you had to go car guy, sales, F&I. Now you're an entrepreneur businessman, right?
Yeah,
When did
man.
that take hold?
Well, so, the last position I had when I was on the retail side, I was the head of the finance department for 34 stores across 5 states. I had 65 F&I managers that reported to me. And in my time there, in the 3 years that I was there, my friend, I created a new process, new presentations, and we started getting new productions, right? I created a new system in F&I, something brand new in the industry, and I implemented it into these dealerships, into this automotive group. And this automotive group had F&I growth like they've never seen before. We set 10 records in the time that I was there. In the 36 months, in the 3 years that I was there, we set 10 records that hold to this day. So I knew that I had created something. And I created it different than any finance training school, any finance training person, any finance trainer, because I created the system based on my experience. Not what I thought or not theory, but based on the challenges and hurdles that I went through in F&I and had to fight through in F&I to become successful. That's what I created. And I implemented it into this automotive group across the country, and it took off. And so I knew that I had something, and I knew that I had something that I wanted to share with everyone. So naturally, creating my own F&I training company was naturally the next step for me. I was already a phenomenal trainer. I'm already motivated. I already know how to manage. I already know the inside and outsides and in and out of every department, including how to operate a store of a dealership. The next step was, okay, now I have to deliver it to the automotive industry now.
Did you find it different when you were going from being that guy that was holding the records to having to go do it on your own? Were you scared? Were you nervous? Or did you just take action?
It's more of taking action because I was already pretty well known. By the time I made the crossover, man, I was already pretty well known, man. A lot of people around the industry knew who I was when I headed up the F&I department for that auto group. And they knew of me. They knew of my background. They knew of my track record. So when I made the transition, it was pretty easy. Different, but easy. But it was easier than if I was somebody who was unknown.
Okay. For me, it was, I was an entrepreneur businessman first for my own previous companies. Then I had to go back to being an employee, right? Sell cars. I couldn't handle it, but I kept believing I was my own business, and I got out of there as quickly as I could to get back to this, right? For me, I always want to be in charge of my own destiny, right?
Sure.
I really believe that I'm more capable of it in my hands than anybody else.
No greater gift, right? Like
Absolutely.
No greater gift, man. No greater gift. None.
So you said something about successful people here, how they know they know there's something next, right? They know that there's more. So I would imagine right now in your life, there's probably something else that you want to do, right? So what's looking next on the horizon for you? How are you going to scale, expand, grow your brand, grow everything?
Yeah. So there's always potential. That's what great people do and successful people do. They're always trying to operate in their potential. They're always reaching for the greatness that's in their potential, and they always feel like they're not reaching it, right? I guarantee you, as great as you've done, Mark, in your career and in your life, I guarantee you've never felt like you've reached it, right?
Not one day. Never.
Not one day, because I never met anybody who's great or successful who says, yeah, you know what, I've arrived. We all are out here grinding and reaching for that next because we know that it's there. So what's next for Shaka Dyson is growing the motivational brand, man, growing the F&I brand, because what I want is to dominate F&I training even more than I do now. I want to cover up the F&I space in the automotive industry so that it becomes the rule, so that at Dealer F&I University and the processes and presentations and the production and the knowledge becomes the rule of F&I in the automotive industry, because F&I is a passion of mine and it's my love in my life, and I'm sick of the fugazis. You know how what they say in New York City, the fugazis, the fake diamonds?
Yeah.
I'm sick of the fugazis, man. I'm sick of the fugazi F&I trainers, man. I'm sick of the fugazi F&I training companies who go out here, who make dealerships spend all this money with them, who take F&I managers away from the store for all this time and don't teach them nothing. I'm tired of it, because what that's cost us is our reputation, our love, our passion, customer experience in F&I. It's cost us so much. So I'm trying to bring honor back to the F&I office and the F&I department within dealerships, and also trying to generate a whole lot of money for the dealerships, because we all know F&I is the most profitable square footage inside of the store. So I'm trying to generate a whole lot of revenue for them, man. And on top of that, dude, my motivational brand, motivational speaking. I love it. I always come across like I'm motivational speaking because that's what I do. That's my passion, man. Right. That's what I love.
I love it. I mean, I'm going to leave this interview charged up, man. I feel good just talking to you.
Come on.
This word's on my mind every day lately. Reaching up. Like reaching up through your network.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's on my mind. Let me know your thoughts on, like, obviously you've had to reach to climb the ladder. Mm-hmm. What's the importance of scaling up your network look like to you or mean to you?
Man, it's vital.
Everything.
It's vital to success. That's part of your self-development too, right? Yeah. Because what you want to do is surround yourself with people who are where you want to go, not with people who are where you've been, right? You want to surround yourself with people who are where you want to go and not with the ones who are where you've been, right? You want to continually move and reach up and know something. 7 billion people on the planet. The great news is that you yourself and I myself don't have to invent success. The blueprint has already been created, and all we have to do is follow it. So I reach for mentors out there. I'm always looking for mentors. I'm always reaching. I'm always reading books, right? My newest book, right? Rise and Grind. I'm always reaching. I'm always reaching for knowledge. So having a network of people, right? Because, Mark, there's things that you know in business that I don't. So guess what? I reach out to you. You reach out to me. You pull stuff out of my brain. I'm going to pull stuff from you so that I can learn, right? The way that we learn from other people, man, is we go out and we grab those who are doing things that we're not doing, and we aspire to learn from them, right? And that just makes us better. That makes us better. It's kind of like being in the gym, man. You know, it's cool working out by yourself, but dude, when you got other people around you who are lifting heavier weights and who are running longer on the treadmill, it inspires you to do the same, right?
Take it up a notch. You turn it up a notch every time. All right, so obviously we're coming short to the time here. Not that you haven't said a bunch of motivational stuff as it is already, but do me a favor. hit these guys with some real raw motivation. For the guy that's down and out, that's at the bottom, for the guy not even in the car world, the guy that's thinking about getting in the car world, for the guy that just wants to put something together today to take this day and make it his first day and take action. Talk to that guy that was you before you got back, before you started this journey, and then let my guys know where to find you so they can get some more of this motivation.
Okay, yeah, man. So, I'm going to start off with my favorite quote. I heard this quote, Mark, and it changed the game for me. It was a quote by a guy named Jim Rohn who said, his name is Jim Rohn. He said, "Those who do are the envy of many who watch." Those who do are the envy of many who watch, right? Many who watch. There's many people out there who are watching, but they are envious of those who are out there that are actually doing. The people who are struggling today have to know that they can't fail. They do not fail until they quit. Because people don't fail, they quit, right?
Right.
So in a fight, the one who wins is the last one swinging. So you can't give up on the hurdles and the challenges and the adversity that's coming your way. You got to put up the dukes. You've got to fight. You've got to know that it's possible to get to the other side. You have to know that people have gone through the same challenges and the hurdles and the adversity that you have. And that success will happen for them. It can happen for you too. You just got to continue scrapping. No matter how much it hurts, no matter how bloody you get, no matter how dark it looks, you keep on fighting because you can't fail unless you quit. So get it inside yourself, instill that inside of you, and refuse to quit. Like for Shaka Dyson, it's either success or death. One of the two. I ain't going out. Never. Right? So it's either die or ultra successful. One of the two. And I want your guys and I want the people that hear my voice to be inspired by that and know that every problem has a solution or it wouldn't be called a problem. So it can be solved. You just never give up and keep on pushing. Keep on pushing.
We got the same mentality. You just also said the name of what we're going to call this show. Shaka Dyson, success or death.
Come on, man. Cool. Come on. So where you can find me, man, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Shaka Dyson. You can also find me on Facebook, Shaka Dyson. The great news about my name is it's not common, baby. It's unique like me. So you can find it Shaka, D as in David, YSON. You type that into Google, man, and you can find me Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Follow me everywhere. Follow me everywhere if you want to be inspired. Follow me everywhere if you want to take it to the next level like I do.
I love it, man. Shaka, thank you for your time today, buddy. Go fucking be great today, right? Don't quit.
All right, champion. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks.
See ya.